Welcome to Chapter 10, the Season 1 finale of Deadly Manners. We'll begin our program after this quick word from our sponsors.
MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear. Period. Okay? Every pair of MeUndies is sustainably sourced, and it's made from micromodal, a fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. If you're used to buying boring underwear, MeUndies will change everything. And if you want a new pair every day, they have a 365-pack they will send you. You can wear a new pair of underwear every day for a year. This pack should probably last you a while, because don't throw them away. They're great underwear. You have to feel for yourself why MeUndies has sold over 5 million pairs to date. And if you don't love your first pair of MeUndies, then they're free. Give them to a friend. For a limited time, you can get 20% off your first pair, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/deadly. That's MeUndies.com/deadly.
I think it's no secret how we feel about Squarespace.
I think you're right.
It is so genius. It is so 21st century. You want to make a website, girl?
Yes.
Go to Squarespace.
And making a website has never been easier.
Never been easier.
And that's what it's really about.
That's what it's really about. You don't want to have to go to a webmaster and do all that rigmarole. Do it yourself, mama.
They have beautiful templates, that simplistic drag-and-drop platform, and we even made DeadlyManners.com on Squarespace.
Hey, lady.
It took less than an hour to build and go live.
I like the sound of that.
Amen. So when you're ready to purchase a plan, that's 10% off with the offer code DEADLY. That's squarespace.com, offer code DEADLY.
As the hands choked Veronica harder and harder, she felt herself being lifted off the ground. Whomever was strangling her was strong, no doubt. She could feel the coolness of the assailant's wedding ring against the skin on her neck and the calluses between their fingers. She wondered if anyone else got to think this long as they were being murdered. If they even had a chance to figure out who it was, if they even had a chance to ask why. She tried to pry the fingers away, but they were firmly pressed, gradually cutting off her air. Veronica's legs swung freely as she kicked and struggled, and that's when she realized she could still reach the bedpost. As fast as she could, she used her foot to launch herself backwards from the frame, throwing her body into her attackers, sending them both tumbling to the floor. Veronica scrambled to her feet, spinning around and finally looking directly into the eyes of the man trying to kill her. And that's when she called out,
William!
Her husband had cracked his head against the dresser during his fall, and he rubbed the spot where a bit of blood began to ooze. As he attempted to stand, Veronica grabbed the poker from their bedroom fireplace, swinging it in a wild, threatening motion.
It was you this whole time?
That's right, Veronica. It was.
But why?
Don't be coy. This has been a long time coming.
I guess it makes sense as to why, for this party of all parties, you would want to assist me in drawing up the guest list. But never in my life did I believe it would be for the sake of death.
William lunged at Veronica, but she swung the poker, slashing him in the face, knocking him back a bit. He caught himself on the dresser, wiping the blood with his sleeve.
Don't even think about it, you monster! Tell me right now. Explain to me why you did what you did. Why did they all deserve to die?
Do you know what the most disgusting thing is about you people? You're all a bunch of money-grubbing capitalists. A slave to Western economy, you bathe in extravagance and then blame the rest of us working folk when there just isn't enough money.
So that's what this is about? You killed them over politics?
It's much more than that. Veronica, I may have been a soldier, but I never wanted to go to war. I didn't want to kill anybody, and I knew there were plenty of people on the other side who felt the same. We had just gotten Olivia. I didn't want to leave her. I didn't want to leave you.
Oh, save me the romantic sentiments, Bill. You just tried to wring my neck like a wet washcloth.
William sat himself down on the bed. Veronica stayed in her position, wielding the poker at chest level, ready to strike.
After we shipped off, me and some of the boys chatted about our predicament, and we decided that once we posted up on our location, we'd make a run for it. We made it all the way to the Eastern Front, where we were able to stow away in a small abandoned cottage for a few years, hoping to wait out the rest of the war.
Nothing more than a coward. I shouldn't be so surprised.
William laid down with his hands behind his head like he was recounting a tale to a bunkmate at sleepaway camp.
We came across a squadron of Soviet fighters who were battling a wave of Nazi soldiers violating the non-aggression pact. We joined in the effort, easily outnumbering the Germans and taking them all by surprise. After our victory, we invited our comrades in, giving them food, keeping them warm.
So what? They turned you? Convinced you to take out your fellow countrymen?
He didn't have to turn me. We were both fighting the same enemy.
You certainly could have fought the Nazis from our side, too.
We had more than one enemy in common. You see, we got to talking, and they told us about their way of life, how everything was so equal. For Pete's sake, they had women in their damned army. It was incredible. Everyone got a free education, never had to worry about money, and always got everything they needed, nothing more and nothing less.
I find that hard to believe. If it's so great, why doesn't everyone do it?
Because this country is all about excess. More and more and more. It's never enough. Such greed, such selfishness. Except when it comes to the little guy, then it's too much. My factory was booming before I left, and when I returned home from the war, it was gone, boarded up, because it didn't make enough profit. All those people in my employ, jobless, I failed them. It made me furious to see.
So furious that it would drive you to commit these atrocious crimes?
Yes, Veronica, that furious, because we almost had a good thing going here. After the war, my communist friends infiltrated our civilization and were slowly going to turn this whole thing inside out. But that didn't end up happening because...
McCarthy.
So you do know a few things other than what wine goes best with a fillet.
But the guy was a loony. The people he accused weren't even...
Yes, but the climate of fear and paranoia it created, well, it was enough to spook some of our greatest assets. It became impossible to carry out our mission.
William stood up from the bed and began slowly moving towards Veronica. She held her weapon up firmly, her face displaying a fierce determination, though William seemed undeterred by her physical threat.
I still don't get it. You wanted to kill a few wealthy people, so why the magician? Why the fortune teller?
Don't be so naive. They weren't just their useless professions. Your buffoon of a magician, Enrique, was a defected Soviet spy. He was the true traitor.
Dear God.
He was preparing to do a parlor trick later on in the evening, and I saw him sneak Joseph's gun from his pocket. When he went to the billiard room to prepare, I followed. I asked to see the gun, and then the lights went out. Imagine my surprise after I shot him that I nailed him right between the eyes. Then I waited in the hallway, and when the lights came on, you came rushing by, screaming bloody murder.
Veronica shook her head, her ears refusing to believe what they were hearing.
Your fortune teller was a confidant of the federal judge who found Julius and Ethel Rosenberg guilty. Now they were true patriots, unlike the Feinsteins, who made false claims of communism to blacklist their real estate competition. Now tell me, are those people really worth mourning?
Then why the chef? I thought you loved Chef.
She offered names of previous employers who were sympathizers in exchange for citizenship.
Well, if you're this salty about American ideals, I can certainly guess why you murdered Roger and Leslie.
Yes, well, truth be told, Roger should have died in the cellar with Leslie, but the old drunk had surprising tenacity. Luckily for me, he was so concussed he couldn't remember a thing. But when I saw him stumbling atop the stairs, I knew that was my chance to finish the job.
Then, if you had some sick reason for offing the others, why Beatrice? What could she have possibly done to make you take her life?
Because she was fucking my wife!
William lunged across the gap between he and Veronica, but she dashed out of the way, sending him crashing into the wall. He turned and pressed his back against it, propping himself up.
Wait, you knew?
Of course I knew. You think I didn't see your little secret tryst about the house these past few years?
Why didn't you say anything? Why continue the charade?
Because I loved you, Veronica. Truly. And I hope there was a part of you somewhere in there that loved me too. We could have done this together. I could have shown you the light. But I realized your heart just wasn't there, and it just never would be. You were just as bad as the rest of them. I couldn't save you. So I had no choice.
Oh, William.
William made one more grab for Veronica, but with lightning-quick reflexes, she clocked him right under the chin.
Ah!
As the blood gushed out, he grabbed his face in pain, falling to his knees on the floor.
I could do this all day, darling husband. Go ahead, come at me again.
Veronica! Stop this!
Me stop? You're the one who's coming at me like a madman.
Please, I beg you, enough!
William rushed into the hallway where he got down on all fours and began to crawl.
Help! Help! Somebody help!
What do you think you're doing?
The butler and Olivia rushed upstairs. There they found a beaten and bloodied William crawling on the hallway floor, while Veronica stood above him with the fire poker.
Dad!
Madam, what is the meaning of all of this?
It's her. She's the one. It's been her the whole time.
Huh. Definitely didn't see that coming.
He's lying. It's him, I tell you. He admitted everything. See, the magician. Well, he was a Russian spy, and Roger, he pushed Roger, and the fortune teller. He knew the judge who executed those informants.
I told you, she's lost her mind. I came up here to make sure she was all right, and that's when she attacked me. She told me she couldn't take the pressure of planning the perfect party of all things. I pleaded with her to spare the rest of us, but that just made her more incensed. I mean, look at her. Look what she's done to me. Olivia, back away. Keep yourself safe.
You can't possibly believe him. What sounds more believable, that I killed people over a party, or that he did it because he's a communist pig trying to gut our American values?
Apparently, the question wasn't an easy one.
Oh, come on, look at my neck. Those are his finger marks all over it. He tried to strangle me just like he did Beatrice because we were... Well...
You were what?
Veronica put down the poker, defeated.
Because, my dear, we were... lovers.
Huh?
Beatrice and I were in love. I know that sounds crazy and it's against the law and it probably is hard to understand, but...
What's hard to understand? If anyone knows what it's like to be different around here, it's me.
Oh, Olivia.
Veronica went to give Olivia a hug, but William stepped between them.
Stay away from her! Honey, well, I couldn't be more proud of your open mind. Your mother is a dangerous woman. You must keep your distance. We all know what she's capable of.
Olivia backed away from her mother, watching her heart break right in front of her.
If I may interrupt, the police will be here shortly. Perhaps we could all return downstairs to the party room, where everyone can keep an eye on everyone at once.
Fine. But Veronica goes first. I don't trust her behind me.
Veronica sneered at her traitorous husband as she left the room, he, the butler, and Olivia following. When they returned downstairs, the rest of the guests were quietly chatting amongst one another. Their eyes all turned and glared at William's fresh injuries in horror.
What the devil happened to you?
My wife!
Oh, shut up, William. Nobody's ever going to believe you.
Well, I might.
Of course you might. You'll believe anything with a ding-dong who looks in your direction, you desperate spinster.
Veronica!
Why are you even here? Tell me, why did you come here? To sabotage my night? Ensure my failure? Remain at the top of your social game? There's a reason you weren't invited, and yet here you are.
I wanted... I felt left out is all, okay?
Veronica, let's go get you a glass of water,
No, don't go anywhere with her.
Why not?
She's the one who killed your husband and everyone else here.
Veronica, is this true?
Of course not. He's covered in blood because he attacked me.
Yes, because that's how that works.
Truly, I just grabbed the nearest thing to help protect myself.
Veronica could feel the tone of the room turning against her. The more she asserted her innocence, the less everyone seemed to believe her. So, she did what any person desperate for their freedom would do. She ran.
Mrs. Billings!
The butler started to give chase, but William stopped him.
No. No one else needs to get hurt. If anyone should stop her, it's me. Please, stay here with everyone.
With that, William began his pursuit. He hastily moved down the hallway, cracking open all the doors.
Veronica! Come out, honey. Let's talk about this.
William came across the open door of the library. He entered through a small tornado of dust dancing in the glow of the rising sun.
Are you in here?
Veronica popped up from behind the desk, hurling a book right at his chest. William caught it, looking at the title.
Romeo and Juliet? It's a bit on the nose, don't you think?
I won't let you get away with this.
Veronica quickly catapulted another book. It hit him in his shoulder.
I won't let you corrupt our daughter.
William dropped the first book and tried to catch the next, but Veronica started hurling them rapid fire.
You'll pay for what you did to Beatrice.
She threw a dictionary at him next, hitting him in the groin, sending him reeling to the ground.
Oh, this won't end well for you.
As he clutched himself in pain, Veronica raced out of the room, frantically searching for another place to hide. The house was so large, and there were so many nooks and crannies that she knew plenty of places the police would never look. All she had to do was wait, and eventually they'd give up, try their search somewhere else. After that, she would grab her warmest fur and make a run for it. She didn't know where she would go, but it would have to be far away from here, somewhere she could start over fresh. Maybe she'd go find a farm after all. Granted, she knew nothing about rural life, but how hard could it be? She probably couldn't wear her fur around the animals, for starters. Back in the party room, the guests waited for the police to arrive. Olivia pensively played at the piano, but something was amiss.
What's bothering you, doll?
I don't know. This feels off.
Try changing keys.
No, not that. My mother...
Ah, yes. Well, that's an entirely different story altogether.
I don't think she did all those things my dad said, you know? Sure, she can be a bit of a ditz, but I don't think she'd kill anyone.
Ever seen anything like this in one of your books?
Not exactly, but I can't shake this feeling. It's something my dad said. How my mom couldn't take the pressure. I mean, I've seen some of her parties fail spectacularly, and she's always held it together.
I have to give it to you there. Lord knows I've tried to get her to crack.
Me too! And my mother would never deliberately sabotage her own event. Murder would certainly do that. She's been a picture-perfect hostess, even when the casserole's on fire, or a snowstorm locked us inside, and a guest was shot in the head. She jumped into a game of charades. That's just who my mother is. She doesn't crumble under pressure. She thrives.
I don't know. Everybody has their breaking point. Heaven knows I do.
But my father said that she started killing people because she couldn't handle it. And aside from some flickering lights and slow hors d'oeuvres, what else could have possibly driven her to do it? It doesn't add up. And in my books, when something doesn't add up, it means that there's a simpler explanation.
Up in the observatory, Veronica had found herself a little corner behind some dusty boxes of telescope equipment. It was where she and Beatrice had spent their first evening together.
Veronica. Stop being silly. Come out now. The police will be here any moment. It's just best you come clean about what you did, all right? Nobody else has to get hurt.
Veronica kept her lips sealed tight as William cased the area. The pile of junk hid her quite well, and it looked like her husband was just about to give up when In a sweeping motion, he knocked over all the boxes, scattering the telescope parts across the room, exposing Veronica.
There you are. Now, will you come downstairs and confess? Like a good girl.
William grabbed Veronica's arm. This was not the man she married. This was not even a man she knew. Suddenly, she felt like she was being accosted by a stranger, and it terrified her. What would happen to their daughter if he got his way? Would he radicalize her? Would he kill her too? Veronica didn't even want to think of that possibility. She couldn't. She had to fight. But what was she to do?
If you're trying to think of a way to get out of this, you're not going to. You should have let me kill you, and we could have avoided all of this. But you just had to be difficult. You always have to be difficult. But now you have a choice. You can keep being difficult, and I can end this now with my bare hands, or you can come quietly and cooperate. Take the fall for all of it, and let the rest of us move on with our lives.
William looked out the window. The lights and sirens of police vehicles, followed by a few town cars, were coming up the long, winding driveway.
Ooh, there's a whole caravan out there, Veronica. Looks like some reporters, too. I'm sure they're just dying to know what happened here tonight. So, what's it going to be? You want to go to jail? Or do you want to be in an obituary?
Fuck you.
Suit yourself.
William pinned Veronica up against the wall. His forearm pressed into her throat, once again choking her. She tried to pry his arm away, but his strength was simply too much. All she could feel was the warmth of Beatrice's body, her lips, and her heart. As she felt her life slipping away, she remembered these things. And suddenly, she was at peace. And while neither Nancy Drew nor Trixie Belden had ever pushed a man through a glass window, Olivia liked to think that perhaps one day they would have, if driven to it. Or at least, if their stories weren't written for children.
Olivia, you saved me.
Yeah, look at that.
For the first time all night, Veronica embraced her daughter. And for the first time in maybe her entire life, Olivia hugged her back. As Veronica and Olivia returned downstairs, they could hear the police knocking at the door.
It's the police, open up.
In her distressed, beat-up state, Veronica nearly collapsed to the floor. The butler rushed to catch her, holding her in his arms.
Mrs. Billings, are you all right? Where is Mr. Billings?
He's gone.
You mean...
Yeah.
What happened?
He wasn't the guy we all thought he was. He was trying to kill Mama. It really was him.
The butler gently lifted Veronica back onto her feet.
Madam, I'm so sorry. I should have known. I never should have doubted you, and...
Oh, nonsense, George. The man was a master con. He had us all fooled.
Veronica took Olivia's hand in hers.
Now listen to me, love. When we let the police in, they're going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to tell them the truth about everything you saw tonight, but your father, well, you don't know anything about that, okay?
But
No. He attacked me, and I'm the one who pushed him. You were down here with everyone else the whole time. Do you understand?
She looked at the rest of the guests.
Do you all understand? Hopefully there will be vindication given the circumstances, but I have a feeling your mother won't be coming back for a while. George, if that's the case, you'll take care of her, won't you?
You can count on me, madam.
The butler finally opened the door to let the police in. Throughout the next few hours, they questioned each one of the guests. They were led to the kitchen where the bodies were being stored. Rooms were taped off. Pictures of the scenes were taken. Young paramedics administered first aid to anyone who needed it. Then, everyone was questioned some more.
I know I should have done more at the time, but you see, the doors were frozen shut, the lines were dead, and there was nothing else I could do.
I knew that man was a rascal from the very start. As an actor, I have a keen eye for character studies.
Well, I wasn't even supposed to be here, mind you. Could you believe she didn't send an invitation to Barbara DuPont?
I was in the party room when I heard the first gunshot.
We didn't want to risk trudging out into the storm. I thought I was keeping everyone safe.
She opened the door and the chef was just hanging there from a hook.
The three of them had gone down into the cellar, but only two had merged.
She was eating a bit of beef and all of a sudden she just started choking.
He was at the top of the stairs, teetering. We all tried to stop him from falling. Well, except one of us.
He strangled the maid, then he tried to do the same to me. I was able to fend him off for a time.
We kept him in the room when we saw it was his gun, but when we came back, he was already dead.
I was down here with everyone else, playing the piano. That's probably why nobody heard it.
Nobody believed me. He had convinced them that I was out of my head. I couldn't stand to be in this room with all these accusatory eyes glaring my way.
It does appear as though Mr. Billings was the culprit of these indecent events.
I believe it was her husband.
It's always the handsome ones, isn't it?
It was my father. I'm sure of it.
Would you like an autograph?
The police chief wrote down everyone's statements, not sparing a single detail. Even some of the other random party guests who were too drunk to stand gave as many details as they could. By the time he was done, it was nearly the afternoon. Veronica had told him all about her incident in the observatory, how William was choking her near death and she managed to squirm her way out of his grip. How, in an attempt to defend herself, she pushed him as hard as she could. She didn't mean to kill him, but it's just what had happened. She showed them her bruises and told them they could find his body on the side of the house just below the evergreen tree. Veronica was a wreck at the end of the questioning, feeling the weight of the evening come crashing down all around her. She cried, laughed, and screamed uncontrollably. The chief thought it was best if they took her to a facility for a while so she could calm her hysterics. Maybe someone could medicate her, give her a little mental vacation. Veronica agreed that she thought that would be best, and when the police took her out in handcuffs, for her own safety, of course, there was a gaggle of reporters already waiting outside, snapping photos.
Mrs. Billings! Mrs. Billings! Over here! Is it true there were multiple homicides that took place in your home this evening?
Veronica, whose blood is that all over your body? Did you kill your husband?
Miss Billings, is it true you have an African-American daughter?
Veronica, is there anything else you'd like to say to your fellow women out there?
Miss Billings, are you aware that this will go down in history as one of the most infamous parties of all time?
Veronica stopped in her tracks at this notion, turning towards the reporter and smiling.
It will?
The police ushered her along as the reporters shouted more prying questions. The rest of the guests all filed out of the house, and Barbara looked at all the attention being fed to Veronica.
Oh my God. It will be the most memorable party there ever was.
I don't think that's the takeaway here.
Son of a bitch!
When the house was finally empty, it was only Olivia and the butler left. She watched as the police took her mother away, as they carried the corpses and loaded them up into the medical trucks. She watched the guests step through the melting snow and back to their cars. She was relieved that it was all finally over. Although it wasn't exactly what Olivia had in mind when she prayed to be left alone. As the butler closed the large front doors on the chaos outside, she had to admit it wasn't so bad to get a little peace and quiet for once.
Thank you for listening. We have some special updates and announcements after this quick word from our sponsor.
MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear, period. They also have matching sets. Maybe you want to wear your boyfriend's underwear one day. Maybe he wants to wear yours. You know, it'll be the same pattern. No one will ever know. For a limited time, you can get 20% off your first pair, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/deadly. That's MeUndies.com/deadly.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. For 10% off your Squarespace website, type in the offer code DEADLY.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this journey. It's really been an incredible pleasure, and I can't thank every person who worked on this enough. Andrew Joslyn is my music partner on this. He is absolutely incredible. He's working with Bob's Burgers right now. He worked on the last Kesha record. His solo record, Awake at the Bottom of the Ocean, is out now. Please check it out on iTunes, Amazon, and wherever you find music. Victor Figueroa is an incredible editor and Foley artist who also worked on Darkest Night. James Kim is an incredible editor who works on Dinner Party Download, who joined us on this project. We also had an incredible writing team who worked on this. Kim Ndombe, she just got staffed on Netflix's new show, Raising Dion, starring Michael B. Jordan. Michael Verratti, who has 3 upcoming movies he's working on. Michael Castelline, who's incredible. And obviously the head writer, Ali Garfinkel, who is incredible. She did an absolutely incredible job with this and been a wonderful partner throughout. I'll share more of her updates at the very end, since some of them pertain to Deadly Manners' future. I'd also like to thank the incredible cast of actors who worked on this project. In terms of just the actors who did a guest appearance on this finale episode, I'd really like to thank Terry Miles from the Black Tapes, Tanis and Rabbits, Jon Grillz, Nicole Goodnight, Andrew W.K., and Jamey Jasta from Hatebreed and his own podcast, The Jasta Show. We had an amazing cast of actors for this project, and it's really a dream come true. LeVar Burton, please check out LeVar Burton Reads. They're about to release season 2. Kristen Bell, season 2 of The Good Place just came out. It is incredible. She's in Bad Moms 2. She's the spokesperson for Whole Foods. She has Frozen 2 coming out. And holy crap, Kristen Bell is doing so many incredible things. Obviously, Timothy Simons and Anna Chlumsky are in Veep. Anna Chlumsky was also in the 4th and last season of *Halt and Catch Fire*, which was incredible. You need to check that out now if you have not. RuPaul and Michelle Visage are currently starring in RuPaul's Drag Race. They also have their own podcast called What's the Tea, which I also produce, and is a blast. Michelle is also going to be a judge on Ireland's Got Talent. Dennis O'Hare, holy crap, is he freaking good. Man. He has an upcoming project at Hulu called Crash and Burn. He also has a film called A Worthy Companion out now, also starring Evan Rachel Wood. Alisha has the 2nd season of 13 Reasons Why coming out. David Cummings, obviously, is the host and creator of No Sleep. They're about to embark on their winter tour and just started releasing their 10th season. I'd also like to thank Mark Berry, who played the Butler, Elizabeth McLaughlin, who played Beatrice. Holy crap, is she incredible. Also check her out in Hand of God. Jason Sklar, who played Joseph Feinstein, and Johnny Farrow, who played Leslie Birch. He's the author of the Darkest Night book, The Caretaker Zion, an actor on Darkest Night. He also has a Hulu show coming out called There's Johnny. Alona Tall, who played Barbara DuPont, has a film coming out next year called The Red Sea Diving Resort. She is starring in it alongside Chris Evans and Haley Bennett, so definitely be on the lookout for it. Lastly, some news from Ali and I, and some announcements. Ali Garfinkel, the head writer and my co-creator on Deadly Manners, is currently working on a new TV project that has not yet been announced. Please stay tuned to her Twitter account. It's @Aligarky. I'm excited to announce that I'm working on a new project in conjunction with Management 360. Ali Gallo and Katie Bro over there have been such incredible partners. This project is going to be so much fun, and it's about love, self-discovery, and has a little bit of a public radio podcasting meta aspect to it. All with the same binaural 3D sound that you've come to know from the work we do. I think you're going to like it a lot. And in terms of DeadlyManners, obviously Ali and I are staying very busy, and our whole cast and crew are incredibly busy with all of their various projects, but we all had a blast working on this. So Ali and I are going to get together early 2018 and see what we can do. We've thrown around the ideas of possibly adapting for other mediums. Obviously, we'd love to do a second season of the podcast, and something LeVar, Denis, Michelle, and I have discussed have been live performances, which if we do them, this will be an experience. Let's just say we're working on some crazy visuals in a warehouse in downtown Los Angeles with a visual artist who's doing some of the most advanced things I've ever seen in live concerts. Will we pull it off? I don't know. But you're damn sure I'm going to give it everything I have in my blood to try. That being said, if it ends up being something bare bones, or we don't end up doing it, I'm sorry. And sometimes it's a case of life happening. Regardless of all that mishigas, and frankly, things that are not entirely in our control, this has been the most fun I've ever had working on a project, and it wouldn't be possible without all of you. It really has been a dream. Thank you. Best, and hopefully I'll see you soon.